looking at the broader investment base, we're seeing some people play victim to this, and other people perhaps capitalizing on it and turning it into an opportunity to make some real cash. So, the other things have been fairly bearish in the market and volatility has been high, but gee, it's been a great time to be trading, that's for sure. Probably at this stage, I'd suggest that one of the more efficient mechanisms for getting exposure to the market is through exchange-traded options. Exchange-traded options give us the ability to do so many different strategies and capitalize on so many different events within the marketplace. For example, we can use options to generate cash flow and income over a portfolio of shares we may have through something as simple as covered call writing. Alternatively, and for many people, perhaps having some form of peace of mind through using insurance. Just simply buying a put as insurance on your portfolio or on individual stocks has been a great way of perhaps reducing concerns for people that are portfolio investors. And then we've had strategies, of course, that enable us to benefit from either a rising or a falling market, both through spreads and through also using directional plays with options. So it's been a great time to be using options for what they're designed for, either risk management and or speculation. Sure, getting started in the options market, Clive, can actually be quite straightforward. Options as an instrument for many people can seem quite daunting, but the actual mechanics of them, they're a very true and fair instrument insofar as a lot of the variables that we talk about in the marketplace can actually be quantified. So we can set things like an exercise or strike price, which is a defined level. We can have a time to expiry, which is a defined level, whereas if we're talking in other derivative instruments or indeed with shares, no one knows where the price is going to be in a certain point in time, and no one knows how long it might take to move there. So they're a little more vague as far as detail is concerned. So no options, I think, with some of the right instruction and guidance can be an incredibly powerful tool for all investors to add to their arsenal. And as I said previously, it doesn't matter what the strategies you're looking to do, be it simply to manage risk, and I'm sure as we go through we'll talk of some strategies we can be using to do that, but also to capitalize on the market. They can be a tool that's sufficiently flexible to enable you to achieve both objectives. And there are very few, if any, other options, no pun intended, available in the marketplace to do that. It's been a perfect market for options, and I can't stress to people watching this that sure, the news in the press has been negative, the overall direction in the market has been fairly shaky and on the downtrend on the whole, but contained within that broader picture have been some amazing gems of opportunities for people to take. And we're keen to get them educated in a way that they can feel comfortable and confident with taking those trading decisions, and indeed actually having cash in the market in a way where risk is quantified and the actual strategy is specifically designed to the conditions we're seeing now. Yet there are some simple steps that people can take, getting a little more knowledge and experience or understanding of how some of these instruments work being one, and then once you've gained that understanding, actually having the confidence or perhaps someone to hold your hand and help you build that confidence, and then most importantly of all, of course, is actually taking action. And to go back to my previous comment, taking no action right now is not an investment decision. It's probably the worst thing to be doing in this case. Take action in an affirmative way, either to manage risk, as I've outlined in some very broad detail, or contain risk, as we've looked at also, or better yet, use the circumstances that we have to actually generate some profit and be moving ahead. And in my mind, that's where the educated elite traders are really seeing their action in the marketplace focused right now, and it's working well for them. People listening to this right now, you may well be thinking that this seems like it's quite complicated and there's a fair amount of work involved. And as we go through, we'll talk about some of the solutions that not only reduce the amount of work you need to do, and this stuff is really very untime consuming, if you can say such a thing. It's very time efficient. But also you've got the ability to have someone that's done this many, many times before hold your hand to make sure that you get there safely. I think taking no action is definitely not an option, and it's an overused cliche, but in a bear market a lot of people just sit on their hands and expect things are going to change, and we've seen at least now 12 months of correction and with possibly more to come. So doing nothing, being inactive, is definitely not a strategy that's going to assist you in this market. Being nimble and being proactive probably would be. we do have a significant experience, obviously, working with clients on an educational basis, but also on the broking side too, whereby we can hold your hand and help you through these times by being closer to the market. I think it's very, very important for people that perhaps are looking to trade options and derivatives in general, but particularly options, that they have someone that's watching the screen for them, because things can move very quickly. They are a leveraged instrument. So things can move fairly quickly, and if you're not necessarily in front of it, it doesn't always work in the direction that you want it to. Having a team of specialists in options and that are sat 18 inches away from the screen literally all day, their attention is focused on that, and if there is an opportunity that presents itself to possibly lock in gains, or to take a position at a discounted rate, or just to climb on board an opportunity that's a here and now one, that's a very, very positive step to take. And dealing with people that specialize in that area, I think, is very, very important. Plenty of brokers in the marketplace. A number of them don't do options, and a number of them aren't option specialists. But right now, it's a perfect market for people that are option specialists. We're seeing a big gravitation toward clients wanting to do that through the strategies I've talked about today, which have just skimmed the surface really of what's available in options, and they're proving to be quite appealing because they work, and they're working well in what are very, very difficult conditions. And then, of course, on the back of that, it's great having this knowledge and understanding where things are going, but we splice together an advisory service with that too. And that's great because it simply gives people great trading ideas to take, and they can comfortably take them because they understand the methodology from which the trade idea has been pulled together. If, for example, you're watching this and you've never traded an option before, and I said we're going to put on a bull put spread on a stock for a certain reason, and you didn't know what a bull put spread was, well, you'd probably be reluctant to take on that trade simply because, and as I said before, if you don't understand a strategy, leave it alone. You let it pass by, and there could be an opportunity that you miss because of that. Whereas by being educated and understanding what the strategy is, the risks involved, why we're applying it at a certain time, the risk return in terms of what we can expect to make out of it versus what we could lose, and of course, why that strategy? Why that strategy right now? Why is it the best fit for what we see going on in the market? All of that's contained in our advisory service too, and the advisory service through Your Options Weekly has had a tremendously positive performance over the last period of time. If we take it from April of 2007 through to the present, we've had about a 72% hit rate in terms of our winning trades versus our losing trades. And then, of course, the final component of that is having a broker to work with that not only understands these strategies, but is willing to help you educate yourself through them as well. And that component of our business, the way that we service our clients is through a very, very experienced broking desk. The average age of the advisors on my desk is 46 years old. That means that there's a huge, huge amount of experience there to call on where, sure, the circumstances we're seeing right now are new, but really they're just a machination of previous problems that we've seen in the past. Long-term capital management, the Asian crisis, the dot-com boom, the '87 crash. I think one of the advisors is probably old enough to have traded the 1927 crash too. So you've got an enormous depth of experience there to call on that's in your corner to help you. And that experience right now is invaluable because enthusiasm is really no substitute for wisdom. So what we've put together is an all-round package, if you like, that educates, that mentors, that helps people gain their confidence, that gives them the advice on what to do, and most importantly, gives them someone human to talk to and say, hey, I'm nervous about doing this. How much? How should I do it? What should I do right now? And we can really hold people's hands all the way. So, it's a great time to be offering this product in the marketplace, but more importantly, it's a great time, I think, for investors to be looking to embrace this, because the days of having a buy-only, long bias portfolio, well, they will be back at some point, but the question is when. And in the meantime, how are we going to use that time? Well, we can be a victim and sit there twiddling our thumbs and wait for something to happen, or we can get out on the front foot and actually make it happen for us. And that's certainly the approach I'd advocate.